Imagine you are sitting on a wooden bench in a quiet park one afternoon. The sun is beginning its slow descent, casting long, amber shadows across the grass. The air is crisp, and the world seems to have slowed to a peaceful crawl. Suddenly, a woman walks by. She catches your eye, not just because of her graceful stride, but because she looks entirely unlike anyone you have ever seen before. She notices the open space on your bench, offers a polite smile, and sits down beside you. As she turns to look at you, you find yourself completely captivated. Her skin is as white as freshly fallen snow, almost translucent, reflecting the soft gold of the afternoon sun. Her hair is a striking, pure silver, cascading down her shoulders in tight, elegant curls. But it is her eyes that truly freeze you in place. One of them is a deep, warm hazel, while the other is a brilliant, piercing sky blue. They are framed by an incredibly thick, dark, double-layered row of eyelashes that make her gaze look almost impossibly deep. You try to compose yourself. You do not want to stare, but you are utterly spellbound. Summoning your courage, you offer a warm greeting and ask for her name. In a voice that is soft and melodic, she smiles and says her name is Anya. She casually mentions that she has just arrived in the city, having traveled all the way from her home, a tiny, isolated indigenous tribe deep within the dense rainforests of the Brazilian Amazon. It is in this exact moment that the puzzle pieces of her striking appearance begin to fall into place. You realize you are looking at a native indigenous woman who carries a rare, complete form of albinism. The conversation flows effortlessly. She is brilliant, witty, and possesses a quiet wisdom that makes the hours melt away like minutes. Gathering your nerve, you ask if you can get her phone number so you can see her again. She smiles, takes your phone, and naturally types her number into the screen, using her left hand. Over the next few weeks, you go on dates. You explore the city, share stories, and laugh until your ribs ache. You find yourself falling deeply, completely in love, and to your absolute delight, she feels the exact same way. She becomes your partner, and you feel like the luckiest person alive. And then, your alarm goes off. Your eyes snap open. The warm park, the amber sunlight, and the mesmerizing face of Anya vanish in an instant, replaced by the familiar plaster of your bedroom ceiling. It was all just a dream. You lie there in the quiet morning light, your heart racing, feeling completely dumbfounded and a little hollow. As you try to shake off the lingering magic of the dream, a profound question begins to form in your mind. Does a person who looks like that actually exist? Could a human being with that exact combination of rare, striking facial features actually walk the earth today? Statistically speaking, the answer is yes. Somewhere among the billions of people alive on Earth today, the laws of genetic probability make almost any physical combination possible. But that realization raises a far more fascinating question. Out of the 8 billion people alive on Earth today, what would the absolute rarest possible human face look like? If we pushed the boundaries of human genetics to their absolute limits, what kind of face would we create? To answer that, we need to go on a journey. We need to break down human anatomy trait by trait, feature by feature, calculating the jaw-dropping mathematics of human existence along the way. And to build this face, we must start at the very beginning, where our person comes from. Human genetic diversity is vast, but it is not evenly distributed. Today, there are roughly 7,000 distinct ethnic groups scattered across our planet. However, the vast majority of the human population is concentrated within a relatively small number of massive ethnic groups. To put this in perspective, the Han Chinese ethnic group alone accounts for approximately 18% of the global population. That's more than 1.4 billion people sharing a common ancestral lineage from a single group. If you walk down a street in any major global city, the odds are overwhelmingly high that the faces you pass will belong to these highly populated, interconnected genetic pools. But on the exact opposite end of that spectrum lies some of the smallest, most isolated ethnic groups left in existence. These are communities that have lived in near complete isolation for thousands of years, protected by dense jungles or treacherous waters, preserving a highly specific genetic heritage. Consider the Sentinelese people of the North Sentinel Island in the Andaman chain. Because they actively reject any contact with the outside world, researchers can only estimate their population, placing it somewhere between 50 and 400 individuals. Or look to the dense canopy of the Brazilian Amazon, where the Caçawaha people, a nomadic, uncontacted tribe, are thought to number fewer than 20 individuals. In the vast, arid expanses of the Australian Great Victoria Desert, the Spinifex people managed to maintain their traditional way of life in total isolation for generations, numbering only around 200 people at their last official census. For the foundation of our rarest human face, we must place our person's origin within one of these incredibly small, isolated genetic groups. To keep our calculations conservative and grounded, we will assume a baseline population of exactly 500 within our global population of 8 billion. Mathematically, this is 500 divided by 8 billion. That simplifies to a staggering 1 in 16 million. Right from the start, before we have even placed a single feature on our canvas, our person has a mere 0.0000625% chance of existing. This is our baseline. Now that we have established our person's ancestral foundation, let's begin painting the canvas of their face. And the most dramatic way to alter a face's appearance is by changing how it interacts with light. We will give our person complete oculocutaneous albinism. Albinism is a congenital genetic condition characterized by a lack of melanin pigment. Melanin is the biological miracle pigment produced by specialized cells called melanocytes. It is what determines the rich spectrum of colors found in human skin, hair, and eyes. It acts as a natural shield, protecting our cells from harmful ultraviolet radiation. In a person with complete albinism, the metabolic pathway responsible for producing melanin is either severely disrupted or entirely absent due to specific genetic mutations. The physical manifestation of this mutation on a face is nothing short of breathtaking. The skin appears snow white or pale pink, as the lack of pigment allows the micro blood vessels beneath the surface to faintly show through. The eyebrows and eyelashes lose all dark pigment, turning a striking silver or white. But it is the eyes that experience the most dramatic change. Because the iris lacks the protective layers of brown or blue pigment, light passes directly through it, reflecting at the blood vessels at the back of the retina. This causes the eyes to range from an incredibly pale, icy blue to a soft gray, or even a warm, translucent pink, depending entirely on how the surrounding light strikes them. On a global scale, complete albinism is exceptionally rare, occurring in approximately 1 in 20,000 people. Now let's combine our probabilities. If we multiply our rarity of our isolated ethnic group by the rarity of albinism, the math begins to stretch the limits of our imagination. 1 in 16 million multiplied by 1 in 20,000 gives us a 1 in 320 billion chance of existing. To put that in perspective, you would need to search through the populations of 40 separate Earths just to find a single person who fits this description. But we're not done. Let's make this face even more extraordinary by focusing on the eyes. When people think of rare eye colors, they often think of green, which occurs in only about 2% of the global population, or roughly 1 in 50 people. Others think of gray or amber, but these are simply variations in normal pigment density. The true peaks of ocular rarity are found in genetic anomalies. We will give our rarest face complete heterochromia. Complete heterochromia is an incredibly striking condition where a person possesses 2 completely different colored eyes. It is a visual marvel. This condition occurs when there is an uneven distribution of melanin during the early developmental stages of the eye in the womb. One eye receives its programmed amount of pigment, while the other is left with a different concentration. In the vast majority of cases, congenital heterochromia is completely benign. It does not affect a person's visual acuity or health. It is simply a harmless genetic quirk of developmental biology.
The prevalence of complete heterochromia is roughly 0.06%, which translates to approximately 1 in 1,667 people. Let's bring back our running mathematical total. When we combine our previous probability of 1 in 320 billion with the 1 in 1,667 chance of complete heterochromia, the numbers explode. Our rarest human now has a 1 in 533.4 trillion chance of existing. To frame these mismatched, captivating eyes, we will introduce a feature that has been celebrated throughout history as a mark of legendary beauty: distichiasis. Commonly known as double lashes, distichiasis is a rare genetic mutation where an individual develops a second, fully formed row of lashes. Instead of growing normally from the outer edge of the eyelid, this extra row emerges from the meibomian glands along the wet inner line of the eyelid. Perhaps the most famous